Hi, everyone. I'm Taylor Combaluzier, a mining analyst at Red Cloud Securities. This session of our Pre-PDAC mining showcase will feature Fidelity Minerals. From the company, we have with us Dean Pekeski, CEO and President on the left side of the screen there. And we have Ian Graham, the former CEO and current director of Fidelity Minerals on the right. I'll note that if attendees have any questions throughout the presentation, to just type them into the application via the Q&A button, and we'll get to them at the end of the session. And for your reference, the corporate presentation is available on the conference website. And with that, I'll turn it over to Dean to talk about the company.
Very good. Thank you, Taylor, and thank you everyone for joining us here this afternoon. On behalf of Fidelity Minerals, I'd like to welcome you all. We're going to walk through a slide presentation talking about our projects in Peru and how we're going to advance our copper and gold projects forward. Before I begin, I just want to draw attention to the disclaimer statement and advise everyone to read this material at your leisure. So Fidelity Minerals assembled a large project portfolio with what I believe is world-class resource potential. As sort of the new guy in the seat, recently joining Fidelity as of what, Tuesday morning. This is what really attracted me to the company, is the fact that there's a project portfolio that I believe has world-class potential. Looking at large epithermal systems at Las Aquias, copper gold potential, Las Brujas with multi-ounce potential, and really where we're headed is to target a minimum 1 million ounce resource within the next few years. We're going to do that through leveraging systematic exploration. Systems create wealth, systems build wealth. But we've also amassed a fantastic team and are leveraging in-country experience with our team in Peru to achieve our goals. Let me go to the next. In terms of capital structure, I think it's important to highlight some of the positive aspects of Fidelity. Fidelity's come through, I don't want to call it a corporate restructuring, but a bit of a process over the last couple of years where there's been a refocus back to the projects that are now within the portfolio. The capital structure is tight. There's a little less than 50 million shares issued. Market cap right now is about $6.2 million. And we'll speak later to the fact that we feel that's an undervalued position. Several warrants, several of which are in the money. And the majority of which are held by insiders. So we know who holds those. We see near-term sale proceeds from a project that has been divested. There's about a little less than $800,000 US coming into the company from those proceeds over the next 6 to 8 months, which is going to provide us with funding both from warrants and sale proceeds to do some of the programs that we're looking to do. And we'll talk a little bit later about future financing plans, which we intend to announce shortly. You can see in terms of just ownership position, strong insider ownership, more than 60% are either insiders, management, or board members. And I fully intend to have my initials on this chart here imminently. So that's the capital structure. In terms of team, experienced team, skills required to do the work, and really, I think a background and a proven track record of taking projects from sort of early stage concept right through the full development cycle, through all the value hurdles, positioning projects and the company to succeed. You'll see a note on Tuesday with my arrival and announcement that John Byrne agreed to become executive chairman. John's been a strong supporter of Fidelity for a long time. He's Fidelity's largest shareholder. He brings a track record which speaks for itself, creating tremendous shareholder wealth across multi-commodity spectrum, And you know, I'm quite happy to be working with John. Myself, I'm a geologist by background and training. Spent several years working for Rio Tinto, both here in Canada and also overseas. Ian and I share a relationship that spans more than 25 years. Working together, we're friends, we're colleagues. We worked on large projects together, both in Canada, in the far north, and also in India. My exploration track record spans multiple discoveries, and I've leveraged that track record or that experience, and have been involved with potash development projects the last 10 to 15 years, which have allowed me to see the full spectrum of risk and opportunity as it applies to project development. You can see we've got an excellent team complemented not only by Ian, who's sitting next to me, who's going to do probably the rest of the speaking here this afternoon, but also Anthony Ballack, who's our CFO and director. Really looking forward to working with Anthony and creating value. And we also have a general manager in Peru, Manuel Delfin, who I have not yet met, but intend to do so very, very quickly. Kind of mentioned our mission, but essentially Fidelity Minerals is a project generator. Our mission is to go out, identify, delineate major deposits that have world-class potential and attract interest of mid-tier and major mining companies, leveraging experience in country, leveraging systematic exploration, like I mentioned before, concept of minimum appropriate data. Ian will remember this kind of concept. It's kind of embedded in our thinking, and really we want to opportunistically advance projects through exploration by doing the minimum amount of work to get us to key decision points with respect to how we're going to enhance shareholder value. And I think Ian's going to speak to why Peru and talk a little bit more about our projects, and yeah, I'll hand over to you.
Fantastic. Thanks, Dean. Certainly, Fidelity's been focused in Peru since our founding. Our first assets were there. Essentially, foreign ownership of assets in Peru is secure, and Peru is a mining jurisdiction, and a large component of the Peruvian economy is leveraged to mining, and it keeps the attention of government and of most regions in Peru focused on mining. So it's a great jurisdiction. And furthermore, Peru is emerging as a low-cost environment for major mines, both across the copper and the precious metal space. So very strong jurisdiction. Fidelity's projects are located in northern Peru. We have the Las Huaquillas project that we'll provide a bit of focus on shortly. Las Brujas we'll go through as well. And then we have some early stage projects at porphyritic copper, and El Bronce. We'll speak very briefly about porphyritic copper. Our larger projects, and the focus will be on Las Huaquillas and Las Brujas, and these are located in well-known metallogenic belts in northern Peru. And some of the big name occurrences, mines that are in the region, both north of the border in the case of Fruta del Norte, and within Peru in the case of Yanacocha, Rio Blanco, a project on the Peruvian-Ecuadorian border, La Granja, a Rio Tinto porphyry copper, and Cañariaco, which is an Anticori Serra Corona, which we'll review shortly. So these are foundational projects for us and provide the platform from which we will build the company's value. So very briefly, just to review the projects from a high level, the Las Huaquillas project has an historical resource. This is a gold resource of over 400,000 ounces, grading over 2 grams, concentrated in an 18-meter wide epithermal system that is extensive well beyond the currently defined resource. This is an historical resource. It is currently not in date, There are also porphyries flanking the resource, and there's a high prospectivity over a large land package that we have consolidated over the last few years. We'll also review Las Brujas. This is a gold project, precious minerals project, and we'll talk through what we've done there over the course of 2020. Porphyritic copper. This is a greenfields porphyry play that follows up on some historical reasonable grade, including 1% copper that's been sampled at surface and that appeared to be consistent with being part of an extensive copper porphyry system. The Cerro Dorado project is the gold mill that we have sold and currently awaiting the further payments, totaling currently $780,000 US. So to jump in on Las Huaquillas, the project is comprised of two parts. There's a core zone where Fidelity Minerals owns 44.5%, and then a zone surrounding the core that we own 100%. There's extensive historical work. 5 mineralized zones have been identified, and we'll take a look a little more closely at the Los Socavones zone, the central Las Huaquillas, and then the two porphyries at Cementerio and San Antonio. Again, to sort of reprise the historical gold resource, reported in the late 90s, a 2.1 gram per ton gold, 25 gram per ton silver. There's additional copper and zinc in the system, and a total of 446,000 ounces of gold and 5 million plus ounces of silver. It's an epithermal precious metal and polymetallic base metal resource that is open extensively along strike, in particular to the west. So the current resource is focused at the east end, east-north end of the Los Socavones trend, which the cursor is currently tracing out. And there's substantial strike length open for further development. And there are some higher grade gold zones along that trend. So a very compelling epithermal system with good mining grade gold. The greater Las Huaquillas project, so the surround claims, are a number of concessions that we've added and that show additional strong porphyry and mineralized or alteration systems that promise mineralization. So we've got a very strong foundation here on this project to develop a substantial inventory of resource potential. To focus right in on some of the historical drilling, looking at the gold numbers, a number of intercepts of good grades of gold over fairly substantial intervals in this 18 to 20 meter wide vein system. Looking out at the San Antonio and Cementerio porphyries, very limited drilling. It was done targeted on strong surface geochemistry and shallow two-dimensional IP surveys and some magnetics. Certainly, these drill holes are not as well targeted as modern 3D IP, etc. methods would allow. Nevertheless, some pretty nice intercepts, almost 100 meters of 0.47 gold, essentially 0.5%, copper, 0.47 copper. This is a plus 0.5 copper equivalent intercept with some pretty nice numbers, 13 meters at 0.6% copper. And then other intercepts, including 100 meters at 0.28 copper with some meaningful intervals at higher grades. So despite the early stage of detection, there's strong alteration at surface over very extensive areas, and certainly the surface geochemistry indicates that Cementerio is significantly larger than mapped here, and the same is shown in shallow IP. Moving on to the Las Brujas project, this is the gold project located further south. It's in the region that is characterized by Yanacocha and a number of other mines and prospects. Structurally, Yanacocha is associated with young volcanics and what is inferred to be perhaps a large volcanogenic depression in the region, and along the margin of this inferred caldera system are several major mines: Yanacocha, Cerro Corona, the Tantahuate gold mine, and the Antiquary copper project. And these are systems that are operated by major players in the mining space: Southern Copper, Newmont, Goldfields, etc., and extending on a sort of essentially north trending structure that connects Michiquilla in the south to La Granja Rios project in the north, and Las Brujas sits essentially on the intersection of both these inferred structural systems. So focusing in, Fidelity acquired this project. We own it 100%. We acquired a small parcel of concessions. I'm sort of indicating now. We've since added concessions to bracket historical mineralization to the north, to the east, and to the south. We've done a number of satellite alteration reviews that have indicated some alteration consistent with porphyry potential. And this led us to extend our concession holdings eastward. In essence, the historical showings, which are from the around 2000, are spread in the north of the project and in the south. We went in 2020 and did fairly easy sampling along new road cuts, so looking for ready access. And we determined that there were at least 2 more major +kilometer gold systems. Each of these prospect outlines are 2 kilometers across. So we identified a new prospect at Grimaldi and another new prospect at El Alambique. We've done substantially more work at El Alambique in the interim, and now demonstrated that we essentially have 4 gold systems with a small outlier spread over several kilometers. And so out of interest, if one were to project that series of showings, which are oriented roughly north, with the Yanacocha open pits that are mapped in the red outlines here, you would see that you've got a very, very similar scale and size of gold prospects that we anticipate will be, high and medium sulfidation gold systems spread over a significant area, very comparable with Yanacocha. So the target is Yanacocha style and low gold grade, very large systems. And to reflect, we've seen some reasonable grades, 3 grams historically, and the work we've been doing has identified half-ounce material in road cuts, and in early this year results showed results up to 6 grams in channel and trench sampling here at El Alambique.
Jump forward a slide.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, so just very briefly, the target here is, large, low-grade systems in a region with low $800 an ounce cash costs. So, where is Fidelity today? We're a low market cap company, as Dean earlier indicated. we're comparable with companies that have exploration portfolios. Some have resource statements. So we've got an historical resource at Las Huaquillas that we would readily be able to recalibrate, and it would give us a very strong exploration and resource portfolio and make us comparable, I believe, with companies currently trading at valuations that are at significant multiples to ourselves. And in the general copper space, we're seeing some compelling valuations for companies that we believe readily emulate if we can put together a demonstration of potential at the porphyries at Las Huaquillas and extend the thesis at Las Brujas. So we think we're in potential. We have the potential for a re-rate that will accompany successful exploration catalysts in the course of the next year. So, you know, the investment proposition is really leveraged to the exploration work that we've mapped for the year ahead.
Great, thank you.
And if we go one slide further.
We are right out of time, guys, on the session here, so we're going to wrap it up. But I would like to thank both Dean and Ian from Fidelity Minerals for giving us this overview of the company today.
Thank you, Taylor. Thanks, everybody, for attending.
Thank you, Taylor. Thank you, everyone.